everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Biz Beat Global Podcast. This is your host, Tommy B, and I am happy to be back again. Back in the saddle again. Yep, that's right. I am continuing as a truck driver, driving all over this crazy country, United States. And right now, today is Friday, September 8th of 2023, and I am on Highway 95 heading north in the state of Maine. And my GPS tells me I'm near Portland. I'm kind of in the Portland area. So it always shows kind of the nearest town or city, even if you're in the middle, you're just on the highway and, surrounding you is pretty much just, trees and, farmland or whatnot. Right now it's dark out. So it's just turning into nighttime here because we're up north, so it's getting darker faster. And so it feels a lot later than it really is. But, so I can't see on the side. There are some buildings, there's some infrastructure, but I'm not sure how close to Portland we really are. I don't have a chance to look at the map. But anyways, that's where we are. We're in that area. So that's not the point of this podcast. But I like to give an update, as you all know, where I'm at, continuing this series. So this is not a live podcast. So the live podcasts are always different. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, and that's 8 p.m. Central Time. We haven't had any live podcasts in a couple weeks or a few weeks now, but we've had the pre-recorded, which I mentioned we would do, and we're gonna try to resume the. Well, if you remember, we want to resume the live podcast, but in the beginning, if you remember, for your listeners who have been kind of following this series, in the beginning we were saying we're kind of experimenting to see what does everybody want. Do we need to do a live every week, or should we do with the pre-recorded, or just to do some surprise pre-recorded podcast during the week, and then always have a live one on Sundays? Well, I think we're kind of coming to that point where we're seeing, hey, we can do surprise podcasts, during the week, on updates or just many different subjects, and just have a live podcast on Sunday nights when we have a good show to do, until we build it up where we can maybe continuously have live shows every week. So I guess right now I'd say stay tuned. If you're interested and you like the podcast, then on Sunday nights, check it out on Podbean, and you can see if we're live or not. And if we're going to be live, it's most likely going to be Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 p.m. Central Time, USA. So that's probably the best thing I can tell you right now is if you like the live ones, check it out. Check and see if we're on. If it's a few minutes after and we're not live, we're probably not going to be live. Now, if I'm driving a truck, I was late before on a live podcast. Once I started doing this to, the truck driving gig here, you get stuck in traffic and I can't start it live. Well, now I can. I'm getting better at it. I found a way to do it hands-free, so that might not happen. So chances are if it's, 9 p.m. Eastern Time and you're waiting and you don't see us live, and it's 10 after and you still don't see it, 15 after, okay, it's probably not going to happen. But there may be a few minutes difference in case I'm stuck in a situation where I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I can't get any reception. So yeah, that's how raw and real this podcast is. Now, ideally, the live podcast is going to have a co-host, one of my partners in the business, or some other co-host, someone else who's good at doing podcasts, such as we've had before with Eric. If you remember, he's Eric from I grew up with Eric, and Eric lived on the same street as I did, and he has the podcast with the title "Low Standards and Pours." he and Bill do that podcast. So, and since like I said, I've known him my whole life. He's the one who encouraged me to start a podcast, and kind of showed me the way to get started. He's been a host on several episodes, as you know, if you followed this. So he may pop in, so that'll be the live. We may have pre-recordings that way too. So we're building it. It's going to be a surprise. We'll try to get to obviously you get the information on the title, and you'll see some info in the description for each episode. But if it's live, then we'll title it for the live show. But since it's live, no matter what we write the description for beforehand, once we start the show, it's a crapshoot. You know what I mean? It's all up in all up in the air pretty much. I mean, we try to keep to the structure, but it's live, and that's part of it. It's real. The conversation might go off the rails. We'll try to, one of us or two of us or however many are on, might try to bring it back to the subject and say, hey, let's see if let's make sure we can try to at least stay on target somewhat, right, as far as what the main subject is. So that brings me to this podcast. What's the point of this one? Well, as I said, it is Friday, September 8th. Most importantly, it's Friday. And I am driving up in Maine, and I keep heading further north, heading towards the edge of the U.S. here. No, I'm about I'd say about 30 miles outside. Actually, it says 28 miles out from my destination, where I'm going to be dropping off a truckload, literally. And I think my truck totally, with everything, the truck itself and the cargo, I'm weighing about 75,000 pounds right now. 75,000 pounds barreling down the highway. Yeah, I can't wait to drop this load. Yeah, okay. Never mind. Quiet now. All right. The response to that, to drop this load. All right. It's trucking talk, but some people might take that a different way. Anyways, getting back to trying to keep this on a healthy track here. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. There's the update of where I'm at, and as you've seen from the video series, which is on our YouTube channel, it goes hand in hand with this podcast. So you can check that out too, and you'll actually see me. You'll see my fat self. Right now, I wasn't before, but a little bit too much beer in the past, I think, and fun. Yeah, the stress of life and all that. You know how that goes. So now I'm trying to eat healthy, and I'm gonna get back to my former self. So now that I've done the damage, right? So you get to see, you'll see me, and hopefully you'll see some of the others as they jump onto the video side of this podcast. That's on our YouTube channel, which is titled as a YouTube channel Biz Meet Global, and you check out those keywords, biz as in business, but it's B-I-Z, right, for the biz part. So, and then meet, of course, like meeting up, meeting people, business meetings, M-E-E-T, right? So, and then global is just spelled global, obviously, G-L-O, B-A-L. So Biz Meet Global. Look at that, the keywords on YouTube, and you should be able to find it. Our YouTube channel. And you see that's about as raw as it gets to. Not very good quality in the beginning, and we're increasing it slowly by slowly. So you're seeing the real documentation. So for those of you joining us for the first time, that's what goes hand in hand, with the podcast is the video blog, if you will, yeah. And so that we sometimes touch on the same subjects. So. But it's not meant to be an exact matchup. It's just you may see me in the truck, see from a point of view what I see when I'm driving in the truck, or you might just see me, sitting after stopping, for taking a break or stopping for the night, doing another video and giving updates. So but both are following the journey. But the podcast here is going to have guests, and we'll get onto business subjects. But occasionally I'll have do an update like today, which coincides with the YouTube channel. So it all kind of blends together. And eventually on the YouTube channel, hey, we may even have a video podcast that goes hand in hand, and has to, do some interviews in person where you can see us interviewing someone as we build this Biz Meet Global business discussion. Basically, you can say group of sites. So that's the main thing holding it together is the social networking site, bizmeetglobal.com. So you can go there, check it out, and that's where you can create your own discussion. Join for free. It's a social networking place where you can create your own groups as well. You can make them private, or you can make them public. Create your own subjects. And like a lot of social networking sites do, but this focuses on business and commerce and anything you want, but we don't. It's not meant to just be the town hall, say like Facebook and some of those, where people just talk about anything, and they're all getting angry, and it's nothing but politics and just people just, screaming at each other and dumb comments and just dumbness. I mean, not saying anything bad about Facebook, not at all. I'm just saying that there's a lot of that dumbness on there. So that's where I was looking at it and thinking, wouldn't it be great if we had a place where people could talk about interesting subjects? And it's not just a place for people to just be dumb. You know what I mean? They're going to be, but it's the human race, We got even the smartest, the best of us, the smartest of all of us is going to be dumb sometimes. But we don't want to create a space that's welcoming to people who just are just talking about their cats. I mean, it's fine. I'll watch cat videos. Sometimes they're entertaining, but this platform is not meant for that. I'm sure somebody's going to put a cat video on eventually onto BizMe Global, but it'll be out of place. And we're just hoping not to encourage it. And members can kind of flag that and say, what, or, they don't have to police it, but they can kind of, the users who are trying to put that stuff on will get the idea, hey, this isn't really getting the attention, that they wanted to get from it. Because it's not about just comedy and all that, which is great. I love comedy. But those are other platforms that are meant for that. That's why they're so popular. So this is the experiment. Can we have a place where people can have fun discussions? It can be exciting. It can be comical, but we're talking about commerce and business and life, society related to success, business. Like I said, commerce, trade, as in trading of goods, trading of information, and many other subjects that it will evolve, because that ties into our lives so much. And there's one thing that I'm passionate about is that business is so powerful in our society. I mean, so powerful. It is, how would you say, the power of it is, we don't talk about it enough in our school systems and in our other media outlets. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not that we don't talk about business. People could say, yeah, they bring up business all the time. They're giving the stock quotes and they're talking business news. Yeah, those are current events related to businesses, But what I'm talking about is the idea, kind of the idea of how important business is and how important business, I'd say how important it is for our society, how it affects our society, so then how important it is that we do it well, honestly. Now, I'm not saying that you can't just have a haphazard lemonade stand somewhere. No, that's honest business. If you're selling an honest product and you're selling it as lemonade, and it is lemonade, then that's honest, and you got a good price, great. You're not cheating people by selling it as lemonade, and say, for example, you're saying it's fresh squeezed lemons, water and sugar, or water and cane sugar. So it's like, oh, this is healthy, and you charge a little bit of a premium price for that, lemonade at your lemonade stand. But it turns out you're just going and buying, some lemonade, cheap lemonade at the grocery store that's prepackaged, and you're just pouring it in there and selling it to them. I mean, that's dishonest business, right? Happens all the time. But I'm talking, real, honest business, and how important it is, how positive of an effect business can have on our society. Very, very, very powerful. So anyways, I've talked about that before. That's where the passion of this comes from, and commerce. And that's tied into every part of our lives. So there's a lot of related subjects like politics. It's going to get involved because look how politics affects business. You get some people that want to tax the living crap out of businesses and strangle them because they don't want them to make money. They don't want them to make money. Like, what? That's what a business does, is makes money. So it's like you don't want a cow to don't eat grass. We're mad. You're eating grass now. That might not be a good analogy because you're eating too much grass. So it's not a perfect analogy. I'm just kind of having fun with this spitballing here. Obviously, going to get myself backed into a corner with a dumb analogy like that. That doesn't work good. But I'm saying that's the nature of business, is making money. Now, if you're doing it honestly, that's what I think. My opinion. Tell me what you think. If it's done honestly, then there should be no limit to how much money a business can make, as long as the playing field is level and allows for competition, because competition will, I think, will naturally begin to, it'll create its own natural limits on any business out there that begins to get so big, they begin to get a monopoly on things. As a business gets that big, it begins to get less and less personal, right? And as we've seen in our current way of doing business, current modes of business, and different types of business entities that we have so far, like corporations, limited liability companies, and whatnot. Sole proprietorships, if you will, anything, partnerships of different kinds. So, with that in mind, how we currently have business, how we do business typically, that is, in those typical structures that are recognized in our system, in our legal system, things begin to happen as a business gets so big that pretty soon it almost needs to become incorporated, it seems. And that seems to be a good way to go. That seems to be the favored thing to do at a certain point for many businesses. Now, when it gets to a certain level like that, what also happens is the original reason for starting the business seems to start to get lost, and it starts to be about making the profits. Because the profits, it's so big that any shift in the profit, a drop in the profits, a drop in the value of the company, it could throw the company off. Many different departments of the company could be affected in a very powerfully negative way. It has such a powerful effect on it that pretty soon they're just focusing. The leaders of the company, however it's structured, are focused on profits, and it's natural that they begin to forget about the people, and that leaves room for new competition to come up. As long as the doors are open for new competition, the playing field is level and fair, then new competition can get started and say, hey, the customers of this company are not being treated very well. Now the company's so big, they're telling their customers how it's done. They're telling their suppliers, here's what you're going to do if you want our business. That starts to get irritating. Like, I'm a truck driver right now, and you go to some of these big suppliers, and I don't have to name names, you can just think of big retail stores, and some of them, they command, here's what you're going to do, and they can be quite cold about it, too, to the drivers. Their people are so used to it, it's like they run the show. You want to be, your company wants to service our company and be a transportation provider of our goods. You need us because we're so big, is what the company kind of projects out there. They're so big, you got to do it their way because everyone wants to do business with them because, you get a contract with them or an agreement with them for regular business. Boy, it's a great, customer because they pay well and all that. Well, they can also be a pain in the ass. They have all kinds of restrictions. They're like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to, stop here at the doors. You're going to pull your tandem wheels. Your wheels on your trailer have to go all the way back. Open your doors. and then pull into dock number so-and-so. Then you have to release the red line on your trailer. If those are truckers, they know what I'm talking about. Release the airline. Some of them, they might say, oh, you need to, disconnect from your trailer, and then you need to bobtail, which for those of you who are not truckers, that's just the cab of the truck, and then drive the cab of the truck, leave the trailer there in the dock door, and travel over to the empty lot and wait for us to call you. Don't call us. Don't bother us. We'll call you when it's time, when we're ready for you, basically. And they command that. So, it begins to get kind of insulting and impersonal, and eventually they begin to treat customers the same way more and more and more, and the suppliers and the people they deal with. So that leaves an opening for competition. Their machinery, they become so big, it's all about the cash because they have to have it to survive. And it's not an evil thing. It's not a bad thing. So if we make sure the playing field is level, then, and we make sure it's easy, we make sure that those people who are going to build up as much money as they want and build their business as big as they want, that they cannot, influence government officials in order to create blocks for, obstacles for new businesses to get where they are. Like they're climbing the ladder up to the top and they want to kick the ladder out. That's just dumb, and for a whole new other set of reasons. That's another subject. And I didn't mean to go off on this subject. It wasn't even the point of this podcast. It's more of an update. But hey, that's the discussion, right? You get to know and see what this is about. So passionate about that. I think business can be fantastic. We should be able to reach for the sky and grow as big as we want. And society and the natural processes in our societies will take care of a business. We'll limit the business's size naturally. If you hold off, you don't need to keep growing. You get so big that pretty soon you might start falling apart. Maybe then it's time to start a different business for the investor, and they can create a different one in a different market. And that might be the better way to go. Is allow the level playing field, allow it so that. And these big companies also create a lot of jobs, so they do a lot of good. They make sure, like, for example, these large retail store chains, chain stores, they allow us to be able to go and get goods at a cheap price. We don't have to go drive to the factory. We just go in town, in our local town, and get it. You got these dollar stores. Hey, people can argue with it, about them, but you can go pick up a lot of things for very inexpensive, for low prices, and they're available. That's not easy to build a business like that, but they provide that, so there's a lot of good to it. They get so big, though, then things go wrong. Well, that opens up, allow competition to come up, and competition, just like in the forest where the animals live, the balance of nature. There's too many prey out there, not enough predators. Well, they're going to begin to starve to death because they're going to eat up all of the plants in the forest that they eat, and they're going to start damaging the forest. And pretty soon, their population is not going to be as strong. They're going to start having a sickness and illness because there aren't enough predators to keep their population down. So they eat up all the grass or whatever the plants they like to eat. They start eating too much of it. It starts to throw the forest off balance. But the forest will balance it naturally somehow. If the predators from other regions, they may start coming in right into that forest because they see, hey, like if it's deer we're talking about, say, hey, there's a lot of deer over here. This is fantastic, this is like good food, and it'll start to draw predators in. If it doesn't draw them in, then disease and starvation will kill them off, and then their population will shrink. Those plants that they were eating will begin to grow back. Things will start to get back into balance. That's a kind of a quick version, but if we try not to limit things too much, just try to limit corruption, that may be a way to go. That's just a thought. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you think I'm an idiot, or if you agree, or what. Because we don't want to get into the. I believe, my opinion is that we probably shouldn't get into the practice of trying to limit human potential. That's not the best idea. And you think, well, we're just trying to limit these people from taking money from everyone else. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Just because one business makes a whole lot of money doesn't mean they're tying it up so that other people can't have it. Not if you keep competition open. Keep it so that it's fair. And one way is also with government officials. Make sure there's equal access to government officials or public officials. So if you're a multi-billionaire, you don't have any more access to a public official than a homeless person. That might be difficult to do, but if we strive for it, we may end up with a situation that is a little bit healthier in our society. But anyways, that's not what we're going to go on about. That wasn't this podcast, but it is. This is kind of what we talk about. I'd love to continue this discussion on it. So, we will. We'll definitely continue it. So those are my thoughts on business and on as far as like how big a business should be able to get. I think we should just in a nutshell, stay out of the way of progress. Don't limit progress. Just limit corruption. And incentivize people to so that the playing field is level. So people of all walks and education types and all can start their businesses. Male, female, doesn't matter what race we are, where we grew up. As long as we're doing it honestly, then it should be encouraged. Creativity should be encouraged. The more people there are from different cultures, that's even better. How fantastic is that? You have inventors and creative people starting businesses. The playing field is leveled, and there are incentives for people who are succeeding, and they start to help them. The government can fund that. There's already programs for that, but we focus on improving those programs to help many people to build businesses, small and large, and encourage them. Have programs to help them get to the next level if they want to, and if they choose to be big, great. But their government should never, it shouldn't be used to help them knock out competition. That's the thing. The government has to be neutral, and it has to help out their competition equally. That's the thing. That's how they are right now. But when you get to a big level, I'm sure the corruption starts to pop in there. So just got to work on that, I think. Maybe that's in the right direction. So tell me what you think in the comments. And continue these discussions. Now, meanwhile, I'm going to be trying to build our business while I'm trucking. I'm trucking in the USA. That's the title of the playlist on our YouTube channel, which is titled Bisbee Global. The YouTube channel, its name is Bisbee Global, but there are different playlists related to the business, and the one showing me driving and it kind of coincides with this here podcast is Trucking in the USA. That's the current title of the playlist. So anyways, I want to give some updates as well before I finish this podcast. About 6 miles away from my destination, 7, so I have to close this up, and we'll do another one real soon. We will do a quick another podcast, and I'm going to do probably another video on the on our YouTube channel. So here's one update. If you saw one of the videos I talked about was bringing on a friend. Should he do it? Robert. Looks like that may happen. We're just trying to work things out with that. In the process of doing that in our creative conversations, here's another update. As an experiment, we're bringing back something that I did in the beginning, and that is the classified ad site. And that is going to partner, it's going to be like a sister site, a partner site to Trade Market Global. Remember, Trade Market Global is where we actually sell the products. That's the marketplace we created. So Bisbee Global, that's discussion. All this that I've been talking about is discussion. The YouTube channel, this podcast, it's discussing business and topics about the world and all that related to commerce, government, everything like that, and success and all that. But Trade Market Global is the actual marketplace. Now we have Trade Market Classifieds that I'm resurrecting. So that's the other update. It's all one word, no dots, just Trade Market Classifieds with an S at the end. trademarketglobal.com. Trade Market Classifieds. That's the new site. Hey, it's live right now, but we still need to put some work into it at the time of recording this podcast. So you can check it out, and it's free right now to put up a classified ad. That's what it's all about. And then we can offer people on there on the classified site for their very simple classified advertisements like Craigslist. But this is trademarketclassifieds.com. Go there, set up your classified ads in many different categories, and but if you want something that's more premium, and you have several products you want to put for sale and create your own store, then you go to trademarketglobal.com, and that's the more involved marketplace where you create your own store. So now you have a choice, and you have a more opportunity. Say you don't want to have a store, you can just put your ads on for your products and services on Trade Market Classifieds. Or you can do both if you want. And if you want to set up your own store and sell products and services and actually accept payment for them, that's Trade Market Global. You become a vendor, and we help you set that up manually to make sure that's different. On Trade Market Classifieds,
2 miles ahead, take exit 80 down.
See, there's GPS talking to me, right? So I'm going to have to end this. So Trade Market Classifieds, basically, you can set up on your own. You want something more premium, you go to Trade Market Global, and that's where we manually verify each vendor. Not the users and buyers, but the vendors. So you set up your store. So check it out, trademarketglobal.com. And the new one, trademarketclassifieds.com. All right, everybody. I'm coming. I got 3 miles out from my destination to drop off these products. So I'm going to end this surprise podcast. I've enjoyed this. I hope it was a good discussion. I hope you enjoyed it, too. If you do, hey, let us know in the comments, and check us out this Sunday, 2 days from now. Check and see. I'm going to try to get a podcast on at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 8 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to try to get Robert on there, if I can. And maybe Eric. We'll see if we can get one going on. Thanks, everybody.
1 mile
And
ahead, take exit 80 down.
There it is. 1 mile out, exit 80. So this is Tommy B signing out from the podcast. We'll see you in the next show. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks. And Tommy B signing out.